Yo, what's good everybody? I'm your boy Jiro, and this is my leveling guide for Necromancer in Diablo 4 for Season 4, and it's definitely Necromancer season. First things first, let's talk about the three aspects that you're going to want to make this build really work. And the first aspect we're going over today is the aspect of the Occult Dominion, and we're going to put that on our neck piece. And the reason that we're putting it on our neck piece is because typically you only get a maximum number of Skeletal Warriors increased by 2, but when we put it on our necklace, we get a maximum number increased by 3. The second aspect I want to talk about here is the aspect of reanimation. Your minions gain increased damage while alive up to 30% damage after 10 seconds. And we're going to put the aspect of reanimation on our one-handed weapon. And the last aspect we're going over today is the Unyielding Commander's aspect. So every time we use our ultimate ability, Army of the Dead, it increases the damage of our minions by 76%. Huge. And we're going to put the Unyielding Commander's aspect on our ring. Now the only defensive aspect that we're going to need for this build is the aspect of the Protector. And the aspect of the Protector gives us a barrier every time we damage an elite. So it gives us more survivability. Now I'm having a hard time finding Juggernaut right now, but that would be the aspect that I put on my armor if I could find Juggernaut. But this aspect popped up quite frequently. Now as you can see guys, I have a unique chest piece on, but you get this chest piece during your seasonal journey. So you'll be able to equip this too. And it simply buffs our Bloodlance ability, but I'll talk more about that later. Alright guys, well that does it for the aspects. Let's move on to the primary and secondary skills next. Alright guys, so here's the skill tree, and for our basic ability, we're going Reap, and we're going the version of Reap that instantly executes minions below 5% of health. Then moving down to our core abilities, we're going Bloodlance simply because we have that unique chest piece. Now with this chest piece, it doesn't matter which version of Bloodlance you go, but as an alternative to Bloodlance, if you don't happen to get that chest piece soon enough, you could simply go Blight. And you're going to want to go the version of Blight that increases our damage by 20% to blighted enemies. Moving down the ladder, we're going to skip past the Corpse skills, and we're going to skip past the Curse skills. Then we're going to go Corpse Tendrils and the version of Corpse Tendrils that makes enemies vulnerable. And Corpse Tendrils pulls all the enemies around us towards us. Then down to our ultimate skills, we're going Army of the Dead. Then for the key passive, we're going the Kalan's Edict passive. And this will help increase the damage of our minions by increasing their attack speed for each minion. Now guys, something I didn't mention here, but I want to mention is we're dumping a full 5 points into Bloodlance. And additionally, our other 2 skill slots will be taken up by Ray Skeleton and Golem. And when we proc Ray Skeleton, it increases the damage of our minions. And when we proc Golem, it lets our Golem do a crazy amount of damage, and it also gives us an unstoppable proc. Now guys, I'm going to work my way backwards here to go through all the secondary skills next. We're going Death's Defense to give our minions more survivability. And then we're going Hellbent Commander to increase the damage of our minions. And then we're going Inspiring Leader to increase our critical strike chance and our minions' critical strike chance as well. Then we're going Golem Mastery to increase the damage of our Golem. Next, moving up the tree, we're going Reaper's Pursuit, so every time that we use our basic ability, we get increased movement speed. And then we're going Necrotic Carapace to increase our survivability by giving us Fortify, and Fortify, as you can see, reduces damage we take by 15%. Then we're maxing out Skeletal Mage Mastery to increase the damage and life of our Skeletal Mages. Then we're putting a full 3 in Death's Approach to further increase our movement speed. Then we're putting a full 3 in Death's Embrace to increase our damage to close enemies and to reduce the damage we take from close enemies. Now moving along, we're going to put 1 into Grim Harvest, but what we really want here is Fueled by Death. Fueled by Death will increase our damage by 9% every time we use Corpse Tendrils or we raise a minion. Then we're going to put a full 3 into Skeletal Warrior Mastery to increase the damage and life of our Skeletal Warriors. Then we're going Hewed Flesh to increase the chance of us creating corpses. Then we're going to put 1 into Unliving Energy, but what we really want here is Imperfectly Balanced, which increases the damage of our core skills, but increases the essence it costs. Well guys, that does it for all the primary and secondary skills, but if you guys want to go over to Mobalytics and check the build out for yourself, I will publish it as soon as this build goes live. As you can see, I have the skill tree here, and you can also check the leveling path if you so choose, and I also include the Paragon board for you. So go ahead, go check that out. I called it the Necromancer Auto Pilot build, level 1 to 60. Alright guys, so that was the skill tree and the Mobalytics plug, but let's move on to that Paragon board next. Alright guys, so here's the Paragon board. At level 60, this is how many points you should have, including the ones that you get when you collect Renown. But all you have to do is carve your way all the way up, get the socketed gem, and the first one you're going to want to go is Exploit. The Exploit glyph will increase the damage we deal to vulnerable enemies, and the damage we deal, period. And then once you've completed this first board, the second board that you're going to want is the board of the Cult Leader. And the Cult Leader legendary node will just further the damage that your minions can do. And then after you get the legendary node, you're going to want to carve your way all the way to where you get the socket. And the socket that you're going to want to get is Golem. This will simply just increase the damage that your Golem deals by 4%. And if you happen to start leveling up your glyphs, this will be the one you want to level up first before Exploit. Alright guys, so that was the Paragon board. Let's move on to the Book of the Dead next. Alright guys, so as for the Book of the Dead, for the Skeletal Warriors, you're going to want to go Skirmishers. And the version of Skirmishers that you want is the one that gives you an additional Skirmisher Warrior. You can also go to the Defenders category if you feel like you're taking too much aggro, because this version of Witch will make the Skeletal Warriors taunt your enemies. So that means you're taking less damage. As for the Skeletal Mages, honestly, the world's your oyster here. I simply go the cold version of the Skeletal Mages simply because they apply vulnerable to our enemies. Like the Minion AI, I don't know, it's not too intelligent if you ask me, but if it happens to hit something, I'd rather make it vulnerable than anything. And last but not least, for the Golem, we want the Iron Golem. The version of Iron Golem that we want reads, every second Iron Golem attack causes a shockwave dealing a certain amount of damage to the primary enemy and enemies behind them. Huge. Well guys, that does it for the Book of the Dead. And there is no seasonal theme, but there's some things I want to mention about the season next. Now guys, as for the seasonal theme, you're going to be presented with this board. It looks something like the Lunar Festival if you ask me. And what you do is you basically go through the Helltide, which I'll explain more on later, and you collect reputation for the Iron Wolves. And within these rewards are armor and things like aspects. You'll also get gold here and there. You'll get tempered manuals. It's actually a pretty good deal. Like I said, most of the, like this item I got right here, this came from doing the Iron Wolves questline. Now, the second thing I want to mention here about the season is every season has a seasonal pass. However, you don't have to get the seasonal pass, but one thing you want to know is that it rewards you something called Smoldering Ashes. And the first thing you want to invest those Smoldering Ashes into is the Urn of Aggression. And the Urn of Aggression increases your experience you get from monsters. So you definitely want to go this one first. I don't see too many people out there offering up that information, so I thought that would be beneficial to you. That does it for some quick seasonal tips, but next I want to show you the best way to level quick in Diablo 4 Season 4. Now guys, the best way to level up in Season 4, it's a no-brainer, it's the Helltide. Literally, when you start the game, as soon as you make a new character, you're prompted to meet the Iron Wolves. And as soon as you meet the Iron Wolves, they send you right into the Helltide. Now, one thing I want to mention real quick too, guys, is always get that Grim Favor from the Tree of Whispers. And in some cases, the Helltide will offer up dungeons that reward Grim Favor. So while you're scurrying and experiencing the game through the Helltide, you could also be collecting Grim Favor that you can return at the Tree of Whispers. And not only does the Tree of Whispers reward some good experience, but the loot from it is awesome. Now guys, I wanted to mention real quick, I was able to get into World Tier 4 with my Necromancer before level 60. I was able to do the Capstone Dungeon, that's a level 70 Capstone Dungeon, at level 58. What I'm going to do here, as soon as this Helltide respawns, because it's over in literally seconds, I'm going to go into the Helltide World Tier 4 with only Sacred Armor on, and give you guys a World Tier 4 Helltide experience. Alright guys, the Helltide is back up, and as you can see here, all my armor is sacred, including that unique that you get on your seasonal journey. So we're about to go into the Helltide. I'm about to show you some things. So what you want to look for is these objectives like this. But what it will do is it'll continuously summon minions for you to fight, or I should say bad guys to fight, and you'll continually get experience. So just kind of watch your health there, watch your health globe there, and once you see it getting way too low, just step out of the circle. But what you'll get from this is a lot of cinders, and you'll get a lot of experience while doing so. There's also the Hellspire objective, which is basically just shoots a flamethrower at you the whole time. It does way more damage as the longer you stay in the circle. It's kind of like the other one that like kind of drains your health. And as you can see, those little +1s, those Wolf's honors coming up, that's the honor you get for the Iron Wolves. And then you go trade it in to beat that seasonal quest. Ooh, see, it gets too hot. Just step out when it gets way too hot. And one of the most important things, guys, you can do, you can collect these things called Baleful Hearts. Right here, you can see there. I have 14 of them. And what you can do is you can place them. And you can summon the most important NPC on this, or enemy on this map, the Blood Maiden. Here goes. As you can see, minions just obliterate everything around you. Just make sure you're moving, and you'll be alright. You might attract other players over to come try and do the Blood Maiden with you. As you can see, 2 more showed up. 3 more now. You know, I'm just happy to see more players in Diablo 4. That's what I'm here for.
I'm not ready yet.
We almost got her here, guys. Sorry, so many people showed up. She turned into like a raid boss. I died once. That's okay.
I'm not ready yet.
There you go. Loot shower. Sweet. Well, guys, that was my best advice on how to level quick. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, Helltide is the thing you'll be doing until you're well into level 100. But what kind of leveling guide would this be if I didn't show you guys the wave clear and single target? So I'm going to go into the dopamine tunnels next and show you guys exactly that. Alright guys, here we are in the dopamine tunnels. This is World Tier 4 and I only have Sacred Armor on. So I'm about to show you guys some wave clear next. So what you're going to witness here is me not doing anything but just watching my minions go for it. As you can see, they are just going to clear the path, and this is why I call it the autopilot build. All I will do is I will click on the raised skeletons and the golem button every so often. Now, once in a while, I will use Reap to get some movement speed. Maybe throw a Blood Lance or two, but as you can see, man, the minions just kind of do it all. Okay, here we go again. Just gonna clear everything in the room. Clear everything in the room. I don't even feel like I'm playing anymore.
I need more time.
Here we go again. Now I'm gonna start having some fun and actually push some buttons. Alright guys, here we are at the end of the dopamine tunnels. We're about to do some single target damage to the boss of the dopamine tunnels. Let's get it.
I need more time.
And melt. Go ahead guys, go ahead. I'm just gonna chill right here. Sick. Single target damage. Alright guys, you saw it too. I think this build speaks for itself. It was able to push the capstone dungeon at level 58. I'm now fighting level 75 and level 78 monsters. It's a great build. But let's go over the build summary next. So for the aspects, you guys can go back to the beginning of the video and I'll chapter it there for you. As for the skills, again, we're going Reap, then we're going Blood Lance, then we're going Corpse Tendrils, and then we're going Army of the Dead. And to fill in our other two skill slots, we're going Raise Skeleton and Golem. As for the Book of the Dead, we're going Skeletal Warrior's Defender, Skeletal Mage's Cold, and Golem's Iron. As for the Paragon board, guys, you guys can go over to Mobalytics and check the whole build out over there, but I'll also chapter it for you in this video. Well, guys, that does it for my leveling guide for Necromancer. It's definitely the season of the Necromancer. And guys, don't worry about liking and subscribing. If you simply enjoyed today's video or brought you any kind of value, that's all I could ask for. Thank you guys so much. Well, that does it for me, guys. I'm your boy Jujiro. Sign out for now. Peace.